I've got 2 series ideas, which one should I pick? How about both at the same time? That should do the trick. 22 full years of questing, no breaks or death, this will be fun. RuneScape 3 Hardcore Ultimate Ironman, questing through 2001. Welcome back to January 4th, 2001. And the final of the original 6 quests. It is Shield of Arav. Once again, we've got reworks to the quest. As much as this says replaced right here, it's still the same quest, same name, same story. So basically it's just a rework. Although, quite the rework it was. There's also a change in 2007. So ultimately there are 3 versions of this quest. So we will get to the changes when we get to it. But for all 3, it starts the same. Well, assuming you make the same choices. Starting here in the Varrock Palace Library, we talk to Reldo. Hello, stranger. I'm in search of a quest. Amazing what you can accomplish when you just ask for quests. Tends to work out more often than it doesn't. I don't believe there are any here. Let me think. Actually, Shield of Arav. Accept. Ah yes, I know. If you look in a book called The Shield of Arav, you'll find a quest in there. I'm not sure where the Shield of Arav book is, mind you, but I'm sure it's in the library here somewhere. Thank you. Start a quest in a book. But also, technically, we already started the quest. Also, Reldo's the librarian, and he never knows where any of the books are, which is pretty ridiculous. It's not exactly the largest library either, so it's pretty suspicious. Ah, the Shield of Arav. Exactly what I was looking for. Take the book from the bookcase. Perfect. The Shield of Arav by A.R. Wright. Arav is probably the best known hero of the 4th Age. Many legends are told of his heroics. One surviving artifact from the 4th Age is a fabulous shield. The shield is believed to have once belonged to Arav, and is now indeed known as the Shield of Arav. For over 150 years, it was the prized piece in the Royal Museum of Varrock. However, in the year 143 of the 5th Age, a gang of thieves called the Phoenix Gang broke into the museum and stole the shield in a daring raid. As a result, the current ruler, King Rold, put a 1,200 gold bounty, a massive amount of money in those days, on the return of the shield, hoping that one of the culprits would betray his fellows out of greed. This tactic did not succeed, and the thieves who stole the shield have since gone on to become the most powerful crime gang in Varrock, despite making an enemy of the royal family many years ago. The reward for the return of the shield still stands. Year 143 of the 5th Age is 26 years ago, as of the current time in the game. So it's been out there for a while at this point. I should show this book to Reldo, the Varrock librarian. Reldo. You know where I can find the Phoenix Gang? I read a book. Do you know where I can find the Phoenix Gang? No, I don't. I think I know someone who might, however. If I were you, I would talk to Barak, the fur trader in the marketplace. I've heard he has connections with the Phoenix Gang. Thanks, I'll try that. And so we begin our investigation into the gangs of Varrock here. And the Phoenix gang, in particular. This is a point where you actually do have a choice. Not that the quest actually really tells you about it, but if you go talk to somebody else completely different, you can find a different gang. But we're just going to start on this path here. Back here. Can you tell me where I can find the Phoenix gang? Shh, shh, shh. Not so loud. You don't want to get me in trouble. So, do you know where they are? I may do, but I don't want to get in trouble for revealing their hideout. Of course, if I was, say, 10 gold coins richer, I may happen to be more inclined to take that sort of risk. Alright, have 10 gold coins. To get to the gang hideout, enter Varrock through the south gate. Then if you take the first turning east. Interesting way to say that. Somewhere along there is an alleyway to the south. The door at the end of there is the entrance to the Phoenix gang. They're operating under the name of the VTAM Corporation. Be careful. The Phoenixes aren't the type to be messed about. You're really bad at giving directions. I paid 10 gold coins for that. I hope you're a better fur trader than a navigator. Hey now, the Phoenix gang makes it their business to not be easy to find. Look, if you get lost, talk to Charlie the Tramp near the Varrock South Gates. He can give you better directions. And there is the bit of a hint to the other person you can talk to. Farewell. So we just need to head to the southern end of Varrock here. Take the first road to the east and find an alleyway. This right here counts as an alleyway. And they even have a plaque here with the VTAM Corporation here. Although, I suppose it could be the VTAM Corporation. And inside, they just have a ladder down where we can talk to Straven here. What's through that door? Hey, you can't go in there. Only authorized personnel of the VTAM Corporation are allowed beyond this point. I know who you are. Really? Well, who are we then? This is the headquarters of the Phoenix Gang, the most powerful crime syndicate this city has ever seen. No, this is a legitimate business run by legitimate businessmen. Supposing we were this Phoenix Gang, however, what would you want with us? I'd like to offer you my services. You mean you want to join the Phoenix Gang? Well, obviously I can't speak for them, but the Phoenix Gang doesn't let people just join like that. You can't be too careful, you understand. Generally, someone has to prove their loyalty before they can join. How would I go about doing that? Obviously, I would have no idea about that. Although, having said that, a rival gang of theirs, called the Black Arm Gang, is supposedly meeting a contact from Port Sarum today in the Blue Moon Inn. The Blue Moon Inn is just by the south entrance to the city, and supposedly the name of the contact is Johnny the Beard. Obviously, I know nothing about the dealings of the Phoenix Gang, but I bet if somebody were to kill him and bring back his intelligence report, they would be considered loyal enough to join. I'll get right on it. Not exactly subtle, are they? Just hidden down in a basement, down an alley, in the more rundown section of the city. There was a few slip-ups in his story there. Now all we need to do is take on Johnny the Beard here. We can talk to him, but he's not interested in talking. So instead, he gets the sword. He's incredibly weak. And we get the intel report. There is an archaeologist hanging around the statue outside the city with mining equipment. Could she be onto a hidden treasure buried near the statue? There's a new channel being dug and a barge being assembled near Varrock dig site. The Varrock Museum seems to be paying for it. Could they have information about new treasures? That is not original text, because all of the things that is referencing do not exist yet. Likely a change in the 2007 update for the quest. But it's what we needed to get in here. How's your little mission going? I have the intelligence report. Let's see it then. Hand over the report. The man reads the report. Yes, yes. This is very good. Very well then. You can join the Phoenix Gang. I am Straven, one of the gang leaders. Nice to meet you. You now have access to the inner sanctum of our subterranean hideout and our weapons supply depot around the front of this building. Very good. So we are now allowed into this area where we have other thieves of the Phoenix Gang. We're just going to waltz straight past them to their fanciest chest and steal from a gang where we find half of a shield. The Shield of Arav. And then we just casually leave with half of the shield, a treasure they've held on to for decades at this point. They've got some thieves. I think they could also go with having some thief guards. Would probably be helpful. And this is the point where the paths diverge. Originally, we would have been given a weapons store key to get into the weapons store that you talked about around front. Once again, that is on a different level here, specifically through this door and up this ladder. Here, we have the Weapon Master and Phoenix crossbows. Originally, we would not be able to take these crossbows. We would have to have given the key to another player who would then come up this ladder here, kill the Weapon Master, and steal the crossbows, as they are in the other gang. But now, we are allowed to join both gangs, or just switch between them as we see fit, with the 2017 changes. Instead of any of that, though, we originally would have taken our half of a shield after giving the key to the other player and come over here to the museum to wait for them to finish their gang's part of the quest and get the other half. In 2001, you would then need to trade over one of the halves. So one person has the entire shield, where they would then hand it over to Curator Haig Halen, who would write out 2 receipts for doing the quest and bringing the shield back. A left. Then you would take that certificate halves and the certificate halves are later. You would bring the shield, halves, 2 people, trade them to one person, so one person has the whole shield. They would trade the whole shield over to Curator Haghalen, who would give them 2 certificates for the reward. You would then both run over to Varrock Palace, talk to King Roald, and claim your reward. Since you are 2 people, and you each got 1/2 of the value of the certificate, since 2 were written out, you would both get half of the reward money mentioned in the book here, for a total of 1,200 between the 2 of you. This whole system of trading over half the shield and then having that person trade back one of the 2 certificates led to a lot of trust trading involved. So in 2007, it was changed to each person bringing in half of the shield and getting half a certificate twice. And then, once you did that, you would both have 2 halves, but the same halves. So 2 left half certificates and 2 right half certificates. And then it's less of a trust trade to get the full certificates, since you each need to put up 1 or you can't finish the quest. And then you put your 2 halves together, get the full certificate, bring them over to the king, where you get, again, half the reward, since you made up 2 complete certificates. The whole museum section has been completely removed from the 2017 version. Instead, like we did, you just get access to the weapon room up here and just pick up the crossbows yourself. And then you need to go to the other gang. Talking to Charlie the Tramp here. We want to find the Black Arm Gang. He knows everything there is to know about this city. I'd be happy to help for 10 gold. 10 gold? That's fair. The ruthless and notorious Black Arm Gang have their headquarters down the alleyway to the west of us. Talk to a lady called Katrine. But don't upset her, and don't tell her I sent you. She's pretty dangerous. Alright, there we go. He can also now tell you about where the Phoenix Gang is, which is just the other way. Now we head into another building here in southern Varrock and talk to Katrine. What is this place? It's a private business. Can I help you at all? I've heard you're the Black Arm Gang. They're just out here pretending to be legitimate businesses. Ridiculous. Who told you that? I'd rather not reveal my sources. Yes, I can understand that. So what do you want with us? I want to become a member of your gang. How unusual. Normally, we recruit for our gang by watching local thugs and thieves in action. People don't normally waltz in here saying, "Hello, can I play?" How can I be sure you can be trusted? Well, you can give me a try, can't you? I'm not so sure. Think about it, I may have a solution, actually. Our rival gang, the Phoenix Gang, has a weapons stash a little east of here. We're fresh out of crossbows, so if you could steal a couple of crossbows for us, it'd be very much appreciated. Then I'll be happy to call you a Black Arm. Sounds simple enough. Any particular reason you need 2 of them? I have an idea for framing a local merchant who is refusing to pay our very reasonable keep your life pleasant insurance Great. I need 2 Phoenix crossbows, one to kill somebody important, and the other to hide in the merchant's house, where the local law can find it. When they find it, they'll suspect him of murdering the target for the Phoenix gang, and hopefully arrest the whole gang, leaving us as the only gang of thieves in Varrock. Brilliant, eh? Yeah, brilliant. So who are you planning to murder? I haven't decided yet. We don't need to be somebody important. Say, why are you being so nosy? You aren't with the law, are you? No, just curious. You better just keep your mouth shut about this plan, or I'll make sure it stays shut for you. Now are you going to go get those crossbows or not? No problem. I'll get you 2 Phoenix crossbows. Great. You'll find the Phoenix gang's weapon stash just next to the temple due east of you. And we already have the crossbows, of course. So we just talk again. Have you got those crossbows for me yet? Yes, I have. You give the crossbows to Katrine. You're now a Black Arm gang member. Feel free to enter any of the rooms of the gang house. These gangs are incredibly trusting, which is pretty bizarre. But we're going to not worry about that. Come upstairs and get the other half of the shield. It's just sitting in a cupboard. Very convenient. Pop it together. We're going to have both halves in one restored shield. Interestingly, the combined shield wasn't really a thing in the 2007 version. Just because you would trade in the halves to get these certificates instead of getting the shield combined. So ultimately, this is here now. And instead of going to the museum, we bring it over to the king. Who is here in the throne room, just hanging out. Talk about the Shield of Arav. Your Majesty, I've come to claim the reward for the return of the Shield of Arav. You show the reassembled shield to the king. My goodness, my father set a bounty on this splendid shield many years ago. I never thought I would live to see the day when someone came forward to claim it. 1,200 coins was a fortune in my father's day. I hope it serves you well in your adventures. The Museum of Varrock shall proudly display the Shield of Arav once again. And that is quest completed. Very nice. As we can see here, though, we got 1,200 coins as a reward. And that was the full reward from the Shield of Arav. For both players. But since it's now a solo quest, we just get the whole thing. Which isn't quite right. So, much like when we get the wrong amount of coins as a reward, we need to get it out. So we add all the coins, take out the offending amount, which in this case is 600 coins, and just drop that on the floor. Technically, we basically did the quest twice, but still. And it's also not like any of these coin rewards are a huge deal either. So, I'm fine with 600. That's still nice. That's still a nice thing to get. And with that, we are technically done with January 4th, 2001. The next quest is not out yet, so we can progress on to that date. But before we do that, I I want to do a few more things here on the first day, just to say that we did. Chief among those things are training the remaining skills that we haven't, if ever so slightly. Mainly, that is range and magic. We don't have very many options in either of these skills, but we can take what we can get. Here in the range shop, we have all sorts of things that aren't, and a few things that are. Namely the short bow and bronze arrows. Both of which are free instead of being sold. Range ammunition is going to be a problem. 30 free arrows is not a lot. And there's no massive stock of additional arrows. So it's going to be a problem. It really is. Eventually, we could technically buy higher level arrows for massive prices. So hopefully we can get any required range levels taken care of in a more timely fashion here. Range is really not of much use early on. Another free arrow. Yeah, it takes a while to come back. In theory, we could buy 10% of the iron arrows that we use for bronze arrows to even out the cost of what it should have cost. We also don't have the option of buying hundreds of arrows either. So, this is the range gear that exists. Also want to try to do a little bit of magic. Although that is also, well, the magic is going to offset the range, that's for sure. Whereas the range stuff is all free, the magic stuff is ludicrously expensive. Another interesting situation is that with the evolution of combat, any magic attack you want to use requires a magic weapon. So we can't just not have anything in our hands and fire off some airstrikes. That's not going to cut it. So instead, we're going to buy just a staff. We don't really need to be more complicated than that. Any amount that it's even better probably won't make any difference. Ultimately, there was slight differences between the staffs, but as it stands at this point, they're pretty similar. A staff. See information on it would be nice. Let's see stats in the store pages, possibly with more of the text overlay stuff, but regular staff should be good enough for our uses. Ultimately, we're going to want elemental staffs, most likely air, but those don't actually give any runes yet, so that would not be a very accurate representation of how things are. And we are only going to buy a few runes here. I don't want to spend a lot of money. Because instead of only a few GP each, we are rocking 17. So I'll take the free air runes here. That's enough for 30 airstrikes, which is unfortunately a lot less combat time that we're going to get out of these arrows, since the arrows only sometimes break. So in an effort to get a little bit more magic experience than that, I'm going to buy a few, and when I say a few, I mean a few air runes. Get this up to like 60 casts. That'll be good enough. Another thing we need to consider when training combat is the massive accuracy penalties for using the wrong type of equipment. If we go to the loadout here, our accuracy in melee with Silverlight here is 236. If we equip the bow and arrows, our accuracy is 117 with negative 77 hybrid nerf to our accuracy. And with the staff, it is even worse because magic is the wrong side of the triangle entirely. So we need to take off the bronze armor we're wielding. That gets our accuracy up to 194 with the staff, 194 with the short bow, and 226 from the dagger, because we're also getting some bonus from our 9 attack here. With level 1 stats, there's not a huge amount that we can fight. And it really seems like chickens have been the answer. So let's go get a few levels over at the chickens. And here we are. Bow in hand. Let's shoot some chickens. Chickens continue to have no HP whatsoever, but our arrows are going to be flying all over the place here. A great day for having area loot, even if that's not entirely accurate. There is level 2 range, very easy, and there is level 3 range. Chickens give way more experience than they would have originally. So, in essence, this is actually very fast combat experience. So we'll be able to get away with the disaster that is everything about this. When picking up arrows, they go directly into our quiver, which is also convenient. And we'll be cooking the chicken here too. Just seems like a very solid plan here. Get some cooking XP out of the whole deal. And we don't need shears right now, so we can drop those. Make the most out of all this. So we lost only 3 arrows in that volley, so that's pretty impressive. Ultimately, I want to not be super high level in any particular stats. So probably not going to go above, like, say 10, just for not leveling up too much sake. But there's another cooking level and a fire making level and just all sorts of levels here at the start. Very easy. Lots of XP to be had. And assuming we actually cook the chicken, it's about equivalent cooking experience to total combat experience, which is pretty solid. So if we just get a few levels here in everything, we'll be able to get lots and lots of chickens. At the rate we're going, we're probably not going to need all these arrows even to get to level 10 here. Because there is 5 ranged. That's pretty good. And 15 constitution, which is always nice. Having more health on a hardcore account. There is 6 range. If we kill too many chickens, we're gonna have too many chickens on the ground to pick up at the same time, which would be awkward. Inventory space is slightly more annoying, since we have to not wear the armor or suffer the penalties of doing so. That's okay. Ultimately, with ranged, there is nothing to unlock, so any levels here is just going to make our short bow more accurate, I guess. Maybe add a tiny bit more damage, but for range, it really does come down to levels of the weapon and the ammo, neither of which are going to be above level 1 for us, unfortunately. At least not for a while. We got another inventory-ish of chicken. Well, as much of an inventory as we can have at this point. It's something. There's 7 range. Not bad. And there was also 10 prayer and 13 combat. Prayer doesn't do anything. That's still pray good and pray evil. Cooking doesn't unlock anything. But with all the levels we're going to be getting here, there's going to be a lot of things that we're not actually going to have unlocked by the end of this training session here. We're still burning quite a few chicken, though, which is unfortunate for my cooking training idea. We could probably bring these over to the range that we unlocked with Cook's Assistant. But then we would have to run all the way over there, and it really is a bit of a trek with how fast we kill the chickens anyways. So we're just going to get level 10 range here, fighting the chickens. Fighting is a strong word, clearly, when we mostly one-hit them. There is level 8 at least. Get all sorts of unlocks, kinda, technically. The experience continues to just soar upwards, which is nice. We've put all of the range and magic experience only into range and magic. So none of this experience is going into defense, since we can get defense for free with melee attacks. And that just makes more sense. Also, technically, we should not be getting hit points experience, since range doesn't give hit points experience at the start, for whatever reason. That's okay. Because there is 10 range. I'm going to put on gear here, drop the short bow, and we ran out of arrows entirely there. That's alright. We could technically keep holding on to these. They're not going to take up any space since they're their own inventory on the equipment screen here. Also was not the case. RuneScape Classic and the armor and weapons taking up inventory spaces. I'm not going to worry about that. Instead, we're going to cook a whole bunch more chicken here. Get some more prayer experience. All sorts of good stuff. We don't get feathers, though. Those don't exist. I will take those arrows. We could technically sell the short bow over to a store, like the general store, since we can't sell it to the range store since they hand them out for free. But since we got it for free, probably doesn't make too much sense to try to sell it. There is 3 woodcutting. Very good. Another level. Lovely. Cook some more chicken. Getting cooking up is actually going to be pretty helpful in the future. So, making the most of our combat training here on the chickens is a worthy goal here. That we keep on burning them. It only takes level 1 cooking to cook chicken. We're level 14 now. Eventually, you stop burning things. Eventually. But let us cook some more chicken. There's level 15. Amazing. And we also got another interesting thing. It was a collection log unlock. The cornucopia. You can put food in here and it does something, but that's not a real thing. We can get this back from Diango once it actually exists, I guess. Next up, autocast airstrike. With this one, we're only going to get 60 attacks, but that's probably going to be fine, again. Since most of the time we're going to one-hit the chicken anyway. Technically, airstrike doesn't exist. We're still rocking the original good magic, evil magic, where our level 1 options were chill bolt and confuse and thick skin. But magic does exist in some form here. So, the most accurate representation of this would be, yes, there is magic. We're gonna keep fighting chickens. Probably just go for level 10 here too. Keeping those pop-ups for the yak track progress. Said I wasn't going to bury 500 bones. That is still not going to happen. We're definitely making more progress on it than I expected. Although I guess it depends on how much chicken fighting we do. Yes, so far we're doing significant amounts of chicken fighting. There's level 5 magic. It really is pretty quick. More bones. Prayer is also going to be very nice in the future. Once it actually is prayer and all that. Anyways. More chicken. More chicken for days. All the chicken you could ever dream of. Love to see it. Light another log, which we can do since we have a tinderbox. Is one of the biggest complications, the tool belt. Because it's so easy to forget that you need to bring things with you. Since the tool belt's just so convenient. Pretty sure I did a lot of the mining and smithing with a tinderbox instead of a hammer. But those are both easily swapped out of the general store, which was right on the path anyway, so we'll try to remember that in the future. But that's fine. Everything's fine. Keep burning chicken, though. Don't love to see that. There's another cooking level. See how eventually we get the you can no longer burn X messages there. But presumably that's still a ways off. Since we're still burning a significant amount. And it goes down each level. So, percentages and whatnot. If we start burning very few chicken, we'll know we're getting closer. But we're not quite there yet. And how are we doing on magic casts? Doing fine. Probably did not need to spend money on the extra runes. We're actually getting close. It was worth it. Also kind of offset the fact that we got so much stuff for free. So, roughly equivalent-ish, maybe. Close enough. We're getting so much more experience per thing. Per cast and per fight. Pretty impressive. And just a few more magic levels here. And we'll be basically done with this section. Since we're getting 10 magic and 10 range, I think it'd probably be prudent to get the melee stats to 10 as well. Just round everything off nicely here. Wrap up the first day. And drop all these eggs. The eggs are slightly annoying. Take up a whole bunch of extra space in the loot interface here. If it wasn't for them, we would just pick up everything and then drop a bunch of the feathers when we're done, which would have been nice. That's okay. There's also eggs aplenty over at the other chickens. So that wouldn't have solved this problem either. That's alright. Grab that chicken. More cooking. Cooking is doing okay. It's just about over the Constitution experience, which is about what you want. Another situation with Evolution of Combat is food. Even if I got really high level food somehow, the amount it heals is capped by your Constitution. So, in theory, you want your cooking and Constitution a similar level in order to make food that is appropriate, or something like that. Close enough, at least. If your cooking level is higher, you can just make more of the level appropriate lower level food and not burn as much of it, which would be also fine. There's level 9 magic. So, one level to go, which is super quick here. Honestly, we might be at chickens for a lot longer than I'd prefer. Just because of this one hit to 33 experience. It's pretty solid as far as anything is considered. There is a level 10 magic. I suppose we might as well use up the rest of these runes, though. Would only make sense. We did have to buy these, after all. More bones. Plenty of bones. Although, then again, I don't really want to get too high combat right now, depending on how things go. So, I think we're probably fine. So instead, we switch over to melee. I guess we could technically sell the staff. Only gonna sell for a few coins though. Let's drop it. And the runes. So, 10 magic. Very cool. Let's wrap this up with the very fast dagger of stabbing. And get level 10 in the other stats. Just like that. Level 10 attack, strength, defense, ranged, mage, and prayer. Very good. Let's cook up the rest of this food. Let's try to pick up the cooked chicken that's despawning on the ground here. Don't really need a full inventory of chicken all the time right now, but having it wouldn't be a bad idea. Until I need to fill the inventory with literally anything else, then it kind of is a bad idea. But, you know. Let's finish cooking this. Then we can look at all of these stuff that we unlocked. There's 5 fire making. Amazing. And with that, we have all the skills that exist on the first day. Level 10 plus, besides woodcutting, fire making, and crafting. Crafting I'm probably not going to do since that is more balls of wool, and that is just awful in all regards. But I think I will finish up getting some more woodcutting and fire making XP. Because why not? We can. Perfectly acceptable. Probably just need like 10 here. Ultimately, a good spot to potentially have trained fire making would have been in the forest that used to exist over here. Instead we have higher level trees, which we don't have access to. Just regular trees and regular logs, making regular fires for a regular amount of experience. Also, originally, you would need to drop the logs, then use the tinderbox on the logs, on the ground. Probably only get one try before you have to use the tinderbox on the logs again. RuneScape Classic was a tedious experience for sure. Instead, we're just going to kind of run around this area, chopping trees, lighting one fire next to the tree. If we had more inventory space, we could consider chopping a bunch of trees and then making a big old line of fires, which is always a fun time. We're also going to need to see if we chop down the trees faster than they respawn, because in that case we're going to need to move further afield for our fire-based antics here. And fire making is definitely more experience than woodcutting, so that's going to be getting up here faster. That's okay. 5 woodcutting. Yeah, plenty of levels here. Lots of flashing lights. Lots of fun. And then when we're done here, I think we're going to go and do a tad of mining and smithing, since we need new equipment. As much as we can, at least. So I'm going to finish lighting all these fires, get to a good stopping point for woodcutting and fire making. Head back up to Varrock, and then look at all the levels we've gotten, because my goodness, there's a lot of them. It's almost level 10 base stats, not crafting. Let's look at everything we got here. Iron weaponry, Bathos weaponry, and Apep's axe are level 10 attack. So this allows us to wield iron, even though for us it currently does not have a level requirement. No weapons or armor have any level requirements on the first day. But just because we should be able to wield an adamant sword doesn't mean the game will let us. So, here we are. Iron now available. For strength, there is Bathos Malls and Daemonheim. That is dungeoneering. For defense, we do get iron armor, but hard leather, Bathus, Walder Crest, Subleather, Imp Hide, Aten, Heru Shield, Oak Shield Bows, and Sleeping Elm Longbows don't exist. Nice variety of things that comes from. We've got what used to be a longbow before Evolution of Combat. We got Dungeoneering. Plenty of stuff in Dungeoneering. Imp Hide. New magic stuff. None of that. For range, we get the Oak Shortbow, Iron Crossbow, Iron Darts, Iron Javelins, Iron Thrown Axes, Iron Throwing Knives, Sleeping Elm Shortbow, Sleeping Elm Longbow, Bathus Arrows, Subleather Equipment, the Quick Bow, Snipe, Dead Shot, Iron Two-Handed Crossbow, Dazing Shot, Bathus Knives, Tight Bindings, Oak Shield Bows, Greater Dazing Shot, and Demoralize. Also, nothing at all. Regular short bow and bronze arrows is the end of range. So, once Evolution of Combat and Dungeoneering and darts and such exist, and better bows, we've got access. For prayer, we got Rock Skin and Initiate Equipment, which don't exist. There's nothing in prayer. For magic, we got some quest requirements, and also Confuse, Water Strike, Earth Strike, South Fildip Hills Teleport, Opal Tipped Bronze Crossbow Bolts, Sapphire Tipped Mithril Crossbow Bolts, Earth Staff in Daemonheim, Wildercrest Equipment in Daemonheim, Level 1 Enchant, the Mind Spike, Dragon Breath, Omnipower, Imp Wand in Book, Sleeping Elm Staff in Daemonheim, Sonic Wave, Sleeping Elm Wand in Daemonheim, Wildcrest Orb in Daemonheim, Deep Impact, and Shock. So, yes, again, we got EOC, we got Dungeoneering, we got once magic actually becomes magic. For the good / evil magic mess, I think we did get a few unlocks, since there's technically more spells that exist. Not that we really care about that. Ultimately, we could now technically cast Burst of Strength, Camouflage, and Shock Bolt in the magics, but that's... some of those aren't even magic, but fine. Constitution, we got various portents, level 2. Restoration, Attuned Portent of Restoration 2, and Restoration 2 in Daemonheim. All this requires Divination, which we don't have. For woodcutting, we got some quest requirements. Light Jungle, Steel Hatchets, Black Hatchets, Sleeping Elm Trees, and Bathus Hatchets. Hatchets also don't have any requirements, not even woodcutting. Just the better you can get, the better it will woodcut. The one tree that exists. Firemaking, we got candle lanterns, pyre logs, oil lamps, wooden pyre ships, ashy pyre ships, sleeping elm branches, Taroman incense sticks, and Marintil incense sticks. Yep. There's still only one log. And cooking. What do we get in cooking? Thin snail, trout, spider, roasted rabbit, lean snail, cod, cider, scrambled egg topping, spicy crunchies, worm crunchies, chocolate chip crunchies, wizard blizzards, red-eye potatoes, red-eye and gissel potatoes, and bacon. Amazing. None of these exist. That pretty much sums the whole thing up, doesn't it? None of these things exist. But now that we have 10 attack, which is 10 attack and defense, which are really the most important levels we got there, we can now use iron equipment. So we're going to go make ourselves some iron equipment. At least the ones we can make. But for that we need iron, and for that we need inventory space. So for that we're going to make some space. And drop the tinderbox and the hatchet that we got for free at the start. We're going to sell the bronze full helm for 50 coins and the bronze dagger for 50 coins. We're going to buy a hammer, which is expensive compared to some of the other things in here, but that's fine. We're going to destroy Silverlight, since it has been replaced. Well, will be replaced momentarily here, rather. Although, momentarily might not actually be the right word. We're going to be making a new dagger, a new axe, and a new helmet. So that is 6 items, so we need 12 inventory slots. There's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. We're going to mine our iron in this mine here, since there was actually iron here for us. Unlike some other mines where things have changed. Unfortunately, we get access to the disaster that is the mining and smithing rework for us. Where now, we have a bronze pickaxe. We're trying to mine iron. Our pickaxe is a lower level than this mining node, so you're getting reduced rates. I can tell. I guess it's more closely accurate to the amount of iron ore we'll be getting, kinda. As far as speed of getting the ore, I guess. We also need to continue to worry about the stamina system, which is also unfortunate. I think we're probably getting more mining XP, perhaps. Yeah, close enough, at any rate. But yes, we're not one-hitting the ores, and we won't be for a long time, since pickaxe is the only pickaxe for a bit. Also need to continue dropping these geodes. Don't need those, can't use them, don't exist, something something. So yeah, it's gonna be something we might need to look into in the future. Exactly what mining and smithing method would be the best experience per hour for us. Because we get a lot more bronze made per hour, since we don't need to mine it so slowly like iron. But then we also would get less experience for making bronze stuff still. I mean, it's the same experience we were getting before. There's not like another massive nerf for being over leveled over bronze equipment. So only the mining is now worse, but it's still worse. And higher mining level is not going to help this very much in comparison to just having a better pickaxe. But that does not happen until 2003. So we got 2 whole years of bronze pickaxe, which is highly unfortunate. But we will make do. No one ever said this was going to be easy or convenient or good at all in any way. So now we got iron ore. We need to go to the only furnace back in Lumbridge. Iron ore also works slightly differently than it used to. Originally, it would just take 1 iron ore to make an iron bar, but with a 50% chance of failure. Mining and smithing rework takes 2 iron ore for a guaranteed 1 bar. So, in the long run, that's actually the same amount of ore per bar, just less variance. So you can't get unlucky and make basically no bars, or get lucky and make a bunch of bars. We just got 6 bars from 12 ores, as expected. Now back to Varrock to make the things from the bars. Since we've gotten 16 smithing, we actually have access to slightly faster ironsmithing. So, make an iron full helm. It's already heated beautifully. But I don't have all of the smithing upgrades yet for iron. But it's at least a start here. So we can make this. Not going to be a big situation. Make the iron full helm. And then we want an iron hatchet. It's only 1 bar. Okay, that's fine. Could have made 1 less bar here. Iron hatchet. Making this. Since it's 1 bar, it's faster. No shock there. And we're going to have 1 extra iron bar at the end of this, so we'll just make another hatchet. That's fine. We're going to sell this one to the general store. That's nice. Since we get the same prices for selling wherever we go. We finish making that. Use the last 2 bars for a weapon. Our main choices are dagger, mace, sword, and scimitar. They're all fastest speed. But the dagger is actually lighter. So, realistically, with all the running around and having 1 agility we do, being slightly lighter could be slightly helpful. So, iron dagger it is. And I don't know if we're going to quite get the smithing level here. Not that it would unlock anything, but nice to get levels. Oh, there we go. 17 smithing. Beautiful. So, 19 mining got us increased stamina when mining. I mean, I'll take it. We could use all the stamina we can get. And smelt iron 50% faster. Nice. Let's check out our new equipment here. We got an iron helmet and an iron dagger. Iron dagger is actually pretty good compared to bronze. We're talking twice as much damage and then like 30% more accuracy. We also have to consider the fact that we get some stats from our strength and attack, so it's not quite that much more. But still, much more damage, much more accuracy, since it's a level 10 weapon instead of level 1. So, that's good. Not that we need it for fighting chickens. That's not actually helpful at all, really. But we can sell 1 of these hatchets for 37 instead of the 50 that we get from 2 bars. So basically, from iron, we're getting 37 per bar when bronze was 25 per bar. So with how much slower it is to mine the iron, it's probably going to be less profit per hour making iron stuff. Not that we really care about that. Yeah, there you go. We got an iron dagger. Almost base stat 10s. Looking pretty good. And so that marks the end of the first day of RuneScape. Take it away, me. The first 6 quests have been completed, even the one that no longer exists. Every skill trained a little, no problems with all my twists. And now time begins marching forwards, whole new updates to try. New places and monsters and skilling and questing. Next time, goodbye.